Hello admins, how we doing out there? Today I was showing off my new moose hat that I got from the store while we were up in Indiana Day. It's a little more casual, not the normal kind of hat I wear, but I kind of dig it. I'm going to wear it more when I'm doing work around the house, I think. Going to try to keep this video short as I always say, but unfortunately we got quite a few things to cover, so I'm going to try to get through them all as quickly as possible. First of all, I would like to talk about our numbers. Our numbers are excellent. We're getting ready to wrap up the month here. We've only got a few more days. And the association is up 45 members as a whole over last year. Where we're usually winning in the Southern Territory, we're usually beating the North in enrollment numbers. Right now, they're not. Right now, we are up like 16 or so, and they're up like 20 some or more than that, whatever it makes to make 45. So they're beating us pretty good. Where they're really beating us though is that retention. Even though it's across the board not good for the Moose Association as a whole, they're at 69%, just about to hit 70. We're only at 63. So they're beating us quite well in that area. We know where those retention numbers are at. We realize that they are ladies who do not realize they need to pay lodge dues, and I know I've harped about this quite a bit. I just remind lodges to put it in their newsletters and on their social media, a poster in the restroom in the lodge. Maybe, again, I always say, when you're going to put something in the restrooms, put it where they wash their hands, on the door when they enter or leave, or even on the bathroom stall on the inside, so when they're sitting down, they have time to read those things. Now, I realize a lot of the ladies coming to the lodge might realize what the rules are. It's the ones we aren't reaching that we need to look at and get in touch with. So we need to do our best to reach those ladies and let them realize that they now have to pay lodge dues. That yes, they got 3 years of chapter dues for free if they were current on April 30th of 2021. But now having to pay lodge dues, most of them don't, or I shouldn't say most of them, there's a good portion that do not realize that, and we just need to explain that to them, and that getting 3 years of chapter dues is the equivalent of a man getting 3 years of Legion dues for free, which we didn't get, but it would be no different. They are part of the lodge now. They are not an auxiliary anymore. The chapter is an auxiliary of the Moose Lodge. A couple of phone calls and emails I've gotten have been about computer issues recently. And there's a couple things I want to remind administrators that aren't reading emails and things of that nature. Remember, you don't have to be on the lodge computer now to, you never had to be, to read Smarter Mail. You can read your Smarter Mail emails from any computer, your home computer, your smartphone, whatever you want to use, as long as you have the username and password. And of course, the username is your lodge whatever number at mooseunits.org. The password you guys should know. I'm having lots of people saying they don't know where the password is. It needs to be written down in the office somewhere so you guys have it. Don't just because it's saved on the computer. That's why they think that's the only computer they can use. If you don't know what your password is, you can get a hold of me. I do have access to your passwords for Smarter Mail only. The other one I'm getting is people calling me and wanting their passwords for QuickBooks Online for them. I don't have access to that. Only the person that puts their username in, that uses that computer, or not computer, but uses that account, has access to that password. So if you guys forget your password to QuickBooks Online, the only thing you can do is go to QuickBooks Online, go down to where it says forget password, and they're going to send you a link to your email to help you reset that. I don't have access to that. Now, along those lines, we're talking about most of the things now you can do on any computer. You can do QuickBooks from online from home. You can get into LCL Web from home as long as you have a username and password. Again, you guys have that. That's just your name and your MID number, and then you have to have that fraternal unit code. If you don't have that written down somewhere, I have access to that also. For computers in the lodges now, we still have people that there are lodges where the computer's crashing and are acting up now, and they need to update. And if you're still on XP, you need to update anyways. You need to get a newer computer. Newer computers don't mean they have to be fancy. For a few $100s, you can get a tower computer that does everything we need. Of course, that computer would need to have Windows 10 on it, which is comes with new computers anyways, and you'd have to buy Microsoft Office, excuse me. And again, we recommend going out and getting the student and home edition. It usually runs right around $100. You get to put it on the computer, get to keep that forever as long as we can possibly use it. Do not, and I'll repeat, do not buy the Office 365 or 360, I mean, because it seems cheaper. It's only like $80. But what people aren't realizing is that's a yearly subscription, so you have to pay that every year. And we don't need all the functions of that. We basically need Excel, Microsoft Word, and those type of, you might need the PowerPoint situation. But everything comes in Home and Student Edition. You guys have have on that Home and Student Edition, and that's really all we need. If you're thinking about getting a new computer and you need help, feel free to contact me. I'll be more than glad to help you with that. Again, you don't have to go buy the top line. You're not spending thousands of dollars on a computer. They're fairly cheap for what we need them to do. Now, there's caveats with that, because we have some lodges that have time clocks hooked into that, security cameras and things of the nature. Then you're going to need more RAM. So you need a little bit more expensive computer, and I realize when I say RAM, I probably throw half of you off. I can explain that and help you guys out with that. But for the basic needs, you don't need an expensive computer. Now, lots of lodges have stuff on their old computer that they'll want to carry over. You know, maybe a Word document that you're keeping, your drawings on, or your PDFs for your ESR forms for the Gaming Commission. You need to save those to a flash drive and take them over. I can help you with that also. But don't hesitate to ask, and when I'm there, we can set that up on my next visit. So if you're having problems with computers or want to save some of that information, because what we're unfortunately doing is waiting until a computer completely crashes, and then that computer is useless. And then it's not a problem for most of the Moose International work, because most of that stuff's online now, but then you guys are losing, like I said, ESR forms, the lodge's contracts that for hall rentals, things like that you guys have are unique to your lodge, and you're keeping on that personal computer and aren't keeping backups of it. So again, I can help you with that stuff. Another thing we need to talk about as we're getting into the fall and winter months, and I bring this up usually in the spring and again in the fall, about maintenance on our heating and cooling systems. Unfortunately, we have lodges that just don't pay attention to this, and then the furnace isn't working, and it's the first 20-degree day weather, and then when the repairman comes, it's not just a simple problem, it's a complicated problem. They need a new furnace, or they need a new air conditioner in the spring. Maintenance is very important. So here we are in fall, so what do we need to be doing? Call a local heating and cooling company, or if you know somebody in the lodge, that's always the best way to do it, and have them do that general maintenance. They're going to come in and check it, make sure everything's okay. In the springtime on air conditioning units, they're going to help clean and stuff like that. Also use those companies to do your coolers and your refrigeration inside the building. Now that we're non-smoking, it's not as bad on some of the equipment, but that equipment still gets dusty, and then we can't figure out what's wrong with the cooler, and then it's broken, or the law says we need a new one, when all it was simple maintenance. Most HVAC companies will come in and do maintenance fairly cheap, between $50 and $100 to work on a few coolers, and they come in and suck that dust out. They look at it, your refrigeration units in the kitchen, those kind of things, and keep those up. Again, maintenance is very important. Along that lines, as we're going into fall, we need to make sure that on a regular basis we're changing air filters out also on those heating and cooling systems. I always recommend when you're putting those in, when we were smoking lodges, I said they probably need to be changed once a month. We can probably get away with a couple months, no longer than each quarter. Every 3 months they need to be changed out, because there's still a lot of activity and a lot of dust and stuff going through those filters. I also suggest that you, when you put those in, that you put your initials on it and the date you're putting it in, so you can know exactly when the last time it was that those were replaced. I do have lodges that aren't doing that, and then I'm going in during my inspections. I'll take a filter out, put my initials on it, and date it, and I come back 6 months later, and even a year I've caught this in the lodge, and it hasn't been changed. We've got to make sure we're doing that. Again, that maintenance goes a long way to keeping our equipment last longer, and I'd much rather you put in a $5 air filter 4 or 5 times in a year than a unit breakdown and you have to spend thousands of dollars getting a new unit. Also, something real quickly, I noticed again, a lot of lodges have fans in their social quarters or in their reception halls and whatnot. Make sure those fans, starting when we start turning the heat on, that they're going backwards, and that means that the blade is going the opposite way, going this direction and flying, so that it's blowing air up, down, and around. And I know a lot of lodges don't mess with that, and there's a reason why there's a reverse button on the fan, because that air flowing that way actually heats up the room and helps insulate the room. I know a lot of lodges don't have good insulation. And I'm telling you right now, if you have a cold room when you turn your heat on and those fans are on, going up and out and around, the room heats up a lot quicker. It's very noticeable. And those should be on even during the winter time. And I know you'll have members come in saying, "Oh, it's so cold, why do you have the fans on?" Educate them. They're on, but they're not blowing down to cool. They're blowing up to help circulate air in the room and keep the room warm. Again, a simple thing. If you're still one of those lodges, and we still have a few that have the old smoke heater fans, they don't really do anything as far as circulating air. They blow it out a little bit. Those are not hard to replace. Take those off. You might even find somebody that's willing to buy them, but you can go out and buy just the blades to replace those. You don't have to buy a whole brand new fan, just the blades, and those sets are out there, and that's easy to do. Again, that lowers the cost of your heating and air in your buildings, and that's an important thing to do. All right, booking for convention. We've had a few people that have been trying to book the hotel at the Wyndham, and we've had some trouble with that. Well, when you call the hotel directly, which is what you need to get that room rate, and the room rate is $105 plus tax per night for those nights of the convention, and they do have a number of rooms blocked off. Actually, we have the vast majority of the hotel since they have fewer rooms right now. When you call the hotel and the automated system comes on, it gives you a choice of 2 for registration. Do not pick number 2. That's going to send you to the national company, and they're not going to have the room rate for the Wyndham in Indianapolis. You want to hit 0 and talk to an operator. If you're not for sure what you're doing, just specifically make sure you're talking to somebody in the actual hotel at Wyndham West, not somebody from corporate Wyndham somewhere else. That way you can get that room rate. They've also said that they were going to send us out a link that you can directly book the room on, and it's Monday afternoon, and they still have not done that again. Maybe they'll get it out, maybe they won't. We do know one thing. The hotel is not at full capacity for rooms. They're going to book up. If they're already out of rooms, you have a few other options in the area. There is a Holiday Inn right across the street from the hotel. It used to be the Ramada. It's been a Holiday Inn for a couple of years. I can't honestly remember if it had changed before COVID hit or not. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's what used to be the Ramada right across the street. It's now a Holiday Inn. There's also a couple La Quintas in the area. The one La Quinta that is right on Lyndhurst, that is out by the Speedway gas station, if you're coming in, you know what I'm talking about. It is not a very nice La Quinta. The La Quinta that is behind the Holiday Inn, and yes, there's 2 La Quintas right there in the same area. It's being remodeled. It's a little bit nicer. There's also a Comfort Inn, which is a choice hotel, just a little bit further past that. Yes, you would have to drive back and forth, but it's literally a mile. It's not far, far away. There's also another hotel, Courtyard. I couldn't remember the name of it. There's a Courtyard also right across the street to look at. So there are several hotels right there in the area, but try to book your room as quickly as possible. If they ran out of rooms at the Wyndham, I apologize. That's all we can do. But they are making several updates to the hotel. So if we do decide to stay there and are there for next year in March, there should be lots of nice changes for next year. The only other thing I have left is that the lodges should have gotten an email last Wednesday from Moose International, and going in October, it is the Cradle Fund raiser time. So October is always time for the Cradle Fund. They are not, to save money, they are not sending those packages to the lodges anymore. It's in that email, so it's all there for everything you need to print up. Again, I suggest taking the one piece of paper that has the 4 Cradle placards on it and getting with the chapter and making it a fundraiser that competition, and print up, the pink and baby blue papers, and then, the blue ones would be for the lodge and the pink can be for the chapter. Yes, we are one, so we shouldn't be necessarily separating out men and women, but it's still a fun little competition, and then whatever the pink brings in, let the chapter have those funds to report for themselves for the Cradle Fund fundraiser. Again, I expect every lodge to be doing that. It's simple to do. Pre-cut them. Your officers should be one of the first ones to give $1 and have it up there with their name on it, so you get it started somewhere in the building. Then give those to the bartenders and have the bartenders push them. That's part of their job. And I get really upset when I hear, the bartenders don't want to do that. Well, I'm telling you right now, if they're a paid employee, doesn't matter, that's their job. Also, if they're a volunteer, they volunteered for that job, and that job, they need to do what the job is asked of them. And it's not real hard that on each shift they go around to their usuals and say, hey, do you want to give $1 to the Cradle Fund? Let them put their name up, put it on the wall. The worst thing is going to happen is somebody's going to say no. And I know people are going to complain sometimes, well, all Moose International wants is more money. Well, when they joined up to join this organization, they joined saying they would help support the lodge and our causes. And Moose Heart and Moose Haven is one of our major causes, obviously. So if they get that complaint, say, hey, that's why you're a Moose. It's not for the cheap beer. And if they say it is, well, then maybe we don't need them as a member. That's all I have. Lord, I went 16, 17 minutes there. I really kept it long this time. I do apologize. I'll try to keep it short on the future. Again, I appreciate y'all and everything you do. You guys have a good day. Take care.